Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I am your host, Jon Herold, and happy Monday. It doesn't feel too much like a Monday today, which is nice. Maybe it's because I didn't have my kids last night. I didn't have to get up too early today. But already lots going on. Lots going on. Silver's surging. Jerome Powell is being probed in a criminal fashion, allegedly. All sorts of random news stories we'll go through. How are you guys in the chat doing? Looks like all my regulars are here. I don't have much to complain about today, so we'll see where it goes. I'm sure we can find something. But before we do all that, let's get a quick word from the sponsors of today's show. We're going to start with some My Shroom Vibe.
Hey there, Earthlings. I'm here on the streets of New York to tell you about something that's literally out of this world. You know, traveling between dimensions really takes it out of you, but I've found the perfect solution. My Shroom Vibe can now be your Shroom Vibe. Elevate your frequency. Get microdose capsules, gummies, and chocolate bars at myshroomvibe.com. Use code BADLANDS for 10% off your order. Trust me, galaxy hopping demands balance, and ours comes from Mother Nature. Organic, not synthetic. It's the real deal. Cy Lee, if you know what I mean. Check it out. Your frequency will thank you. Visit myshroomvibe.com. Organic goodness, not synthetic. Use code BADLANDS.
I actually lied. It is kind of feeling like a Monday. I forgot to tell you guys that if you haven't noticed over the weekend, I rearranged my office, did a little cleaning. I just turned my desk around. So this is the wall opposing my former background. But while I was doing that, I accidentally smooshed one of my earpieces. And so now I only have one earbud. So I gotta get a new inner ear monitor set or whatever. I'm sure I can just replace one of the, I don't know how it works. I have to look into it, but I feel like half naked with only one earpiece in doing this show. Unfortunately, I used to normally before my girlfriend moved in, I guess, when I was doing shows, my kids were sleeping, I always had one out, but on the weeks I didn't, I just got accustomed to having earbuds in both ears. And now it just feels weird, but I'll overcome as long as you guys can overcome as well. But yeah, let's hop right into it. We'll get to our other sponsor here in a second. We have no update on the Doge website. We have, actually, do you guys like that better or this better? Like, would you rather me be overlaying what's on the screen? I can even make that bigger too. There's that or this. You guys let me know. We'll call this one and this two. You guys let me know which one you prefer. Anyway, no update on the Doge website. Check out gold and silver right now. This is crazy. Gold is over $4,600 and silver's over $86 right now. Pushing 87. That's insane. Huge jump from last week. I think last week it closed out around, was it 76 or 78 bucks? Okay, most people like 2. Polaris Spark likes 3. You guys are funny. Don't overthink it. We haven't accumulated any Fs yet. That's true. We have not accumulated our Fs to give yet. Bitcoin. Actually, no, wait. Let me go back here quick because our other sponsor today is Goldco. Gold has exploded to new all-time highs, surging over 70% this last year. And silver, it's on fire, rocketing more than 150% the last year, shattering records and outpacing everything. From everyday Americans to billionaires and central banks, everyone's rushing to these timeless safe havens. I think there's even a little bit more going on than, just them being safe havens. This is why Badlands is a partner with Goldco. Make protecting your savings with real gold and silver straightforward and stress-free. If you're serious about safeguarding your future, go to badlandsgold.com today. You'll get their free gold and silver kit. Plus, you can qualify for up to 10% back in free bonus silver. The unbeatable offer right now. Visit badlandsgold.com or click the link in this description of this video. Again, that's badlandsgold.com. All right, now we'll check on Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin, we're at 91.3, looking good. No big updates on the presidential website. We did get this, safeguarding Venezuelan oil revenue for the good of the American and Venezuelan people. So really trying to hammer home that narrative that the whole Venezuela thing was all about the oil. But if you go and watch Saturday's Power Hour, which I'm assuming most of you watching here have already seen that, but it's not about the oil. It's a cover. It's a fake story. We talked about that last week too. And they put out this article on their website too. I just wanted to mention, I don't think I'm going to go through it too much, but they have the big wins for American families as gas prices, mortgage rates plummet. I know I often say that it doesn't always feel like what they're telling us is actually happening, especially when it comes to like the wins, like gas prices and mortgage rates and all this stuff. This is probably a pretty good article for people to look at, you know, and maybe we'll go through some of this because even myself, I get a little, complaining, like you guys say. I complain a little bit. Sometimes I feel it's justified. Maybe sometimes it's not. But here they're saying gas prices have hit their lowest levels since 2021. I generally and broadly pay attention to the gas prices, but I don't drive all that much, so I don't have to fill all that much. And so even locally, like they're down a little bit, maybe. I don't remember. I don't pay attention as much as I should. But according to Gas Buddy, the average price for regular gas is below $3 per gallon in 43 states. I bet those seven, I bet the rest of them, is it seven, right? 7 states. Those would be blue states. It's below $2.75 per gallon in 30 states and at or below $2.50 per gallon in 17 states. No, let's look at it. Oh, no, I don't want that. I want the Gas Buddy link. Oh, they don't even like cite the actual gas prices. Let's do this. Can you just show us the stats right now? Okay, well, I'm not going to do the work for Gas Buddy. They should have it ready for me. And then it's also, they can find gas below $2 per gallon at certain stations in at least 19 states. Mortgage rates are falling sharply to 3-year lows. Average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage dipped to its lowest in nearly 3 years, falling more than 1% in the last year, driving Americans' monthly housing payments to the lowest point in over 2 years. Rents have declined for 5 straight months, providing needed relief for American families. I even had a text from my buddy. He's the one who, even though it's like a contract for deed or whatever on this house, he's the one who like did the paperwork, legal side for me. He even texted me, he's like, hey man, interest rates are coming down. Might be time to look at getting something different. And mine is below 6% right now. Because I got a pretty good deal compared to the market back in January of, what was that? It was 2 years ago. It's been 2 years I've been in this house. So it was already below 6%. If it gets, I don't mind the setup I got going on. But yeah, obviously if it went down further, I would refinance. PJ Corrigan said he would go on to OnlyLands, or Y-Chromes, You'd probably be fun on that show. You should go on there. $2.34 in Michigan, $2.49 in South Georgia. Gas near San Antonio is $2. That's great. Alpha and JB didn't show up for work today. The DEI hires, not surprised. Not surprised in the slightest. But let's go back to this. Let's see what else. Oh, it's just those 2 things. Those are good things. Take some more wins if you got them, though. The biggest storyline I would probably say coming out of the weekend is this one. And I'm not sure I agree with most people's take on this. And you guys probably already know what I'm going to say. But I'll say it anyway. Powell says DOJ has opened criminal probe tied to Senate testimony. No, let's go to just the news article on this. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell revealed Sunday night that federal prosecutors have launched a criminal investigation involving his actions. In a recorded statement released on the Federal Reserve's official X account, he stated that the Justice Department delivered grand jury subpoenas to the Fed late last week, I think it was Friday, signaling the possibility of criminal charges tied to his testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. Let's watch this clip here.
Good evening. On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people. Thank you.
This guy might have the biggest earlobes of all time. Just a sad-looking guy. He looks like he should be in Lord of the Rings. Like he's an elder from like one of the elves. He never made the boat to go to wherever they go. I'm not as big of a Lord of the Rings nerd as Burning Bright. But now he's just like all depressed because he has to like walk around Middle Earth and like be in charge of the Fed. And he just hates his life now because he doesn't get to spend it with his friends. That's what he looks like. But anyway, the actual charge here that we're looking at, let me get to the story here. The District of Columbia has opened a criminal investigation into Jerome Powell, Federal Reserve Chair, over the central bank's renovation of its Washington headquarters, and whether Mr. Powell lied to Congress about the scope of the project, according to officials briefed on the situation. The inquiry, which includes an analysis of Mr. Powell's public statements and an examination of spending records, was approved in November by Jeanine Pirro, longtime ally of President Trump. It escalates Mr. Trump's long-running feud with Mr. Powell, blah, blah, blah. The president has threatened to fire the Fed chair, even though he nominated Mr. Powell for the position in 2017, and raised the prospect of a lawsuit against him related to the $2.5 billion renovation, citing incompetence. Mr. Trump told the New York Times in an interview last week that he had decided on who he wants to replace Mr. Powell as Fed chair. He's expected to soon announce his decision. Kevin A. Hassett is a front runner for the job. I want to find the quotes. Indictments, blah, blah, blah. Come on. Oh, man, I wanted to find the actual quotes of what he lied about. Hold for processing. If you guys remember when Trump visited the Fed way back, gosh, when was that? I think I had a tweet about that. Let's see. Yeah, that was back in July. This was back in July. You guys remember this video?
Went up a little bit, or a lot. I'm
not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes that this came from us.
Yes. I don't know who does that. It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look.
Trump has been wanting to fire him this whole time, and I want to find the actual quotes because they're saying it was misleading and inaccurate in terms of. Well, come on now. AI is being dumb. You know exactly what I'm asking you for, AI. Don't play hard to get. He faces accusation of lying to Congress about Federal Reserve headquarters renovations during his June 25th, 2025 Senate Banking Committee testimony. That meeting with Trump was about a month later. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna is the one who I think referred him to DOJ. Powell stated there's no VIP dining area. There's new marble. There are special elevators. There are no new water features, no beehives, and no rooftop gardens. He also called media reports on renovations misleading and inaccurate. In many, many respects, misleading and inaccurate. You know what, guys? One of the wraiths, you mean? Maybe. Is that the Lord of the Rings thing? So here's the thing. Like, I don't like Jerome Powell. If he's committed crimes like fraud and stuff at the Fed, which would not surprise me at all, I do think he should be investigated. I don't really like. Yes, this project we're being told is like way over budget. Did he do that like himself? Did he single-handedly carry us over budget? And did he actually lie? But like those statements above lying to Congress, that's gonna be pretty hard to prove intent. Like, oh yeah, he knew it was the opposite and willingly and intentionally lied to Congress. Plus, Congress is illegitimate body of government anyway, so the whole thing's stupid in my opinion. I don't know. This is my one complaint of the day, probably. That like, yeah, I don't like Powell, and if he's committed fraud and all these things, let's go after him. But I don't think this is it. This feels like a cop-out again. Like we're indicting these big names. Like, you know, who do we indict for? Comey. Remember how that went? No longer under a criminal indictment. Letitia James, that one's got thrown out the window, even though we keep trying. Powell now. And they're all like mortgage fraud, lying to Congress again. I want some meat and potatoes. I'm sick of these appetizers. Give me some meat and potatoes, guys. John, could the investigation simply be pressure move to try to force Powell's resignation? I mean, isn't he done in like 3 months anyway? Patrick Kekstan, ultimately, good to see you, man. Ultimately, the Fed will be gone, if not already. That'd be ideal. That would be ideal. Yeah, he's just got a couple months left. And I know these, this first part of this year, this whole year is really important economically. Not that I care about the midterms, but some people still do. Maybe Trump wants to continue operating within the current narrative battle space, and so he cares about it as well. I don't know. Quiet Coney, Powell may not be the one physically overseeing the renovation, but he is responsible in that end. Yeah. But then it's also like, would that make Trump liable for one of the executive departments committing fraud? Because, I mean, ultimately, he's the head of the executive. Even though he didn't single-handedly oversee Somalian daycare fraud, is he liable for it because some of it happened under his watch in 2018? Like, if there's malfeasance there, which there very well may be, then let's go after the malfeasance. And but the line to Congress just seems like such a dumb thing to go after people for. It's a headline. You get a headline out of it. It won't end up going anywhere. We're not going to get the justice we want. Richard Ward, John, that's a reach. Well, so is what he said. It's a reach around. I reach, you reach. Or you reach, I reach. I don't know. I think you reached first. Meat and potatoes before July 4th or I'm out. As the saying goes, the Fed is neither federal nor a reserve. Medved's Co. He is possibly not liable because he has never taken a paycheck with reference to Trump liability. I don't know. That's a good point. But also, just because you don't get paid from something doesn't mean you can't crime around. John Powell to cash. We'll see. Oh, if that's what he did, then let's go after that. We're going after him for lying to Congress. That's going to be pretty limited in scope, in my opinion, like the criminal stuff, in terms of like, they're not just going to be able to go through all of his personal financials because he lied to Congress over what they're doing in the building addition. Meat and potatoes. That's what we want, guys. Don't settle for the appetizers. Quiet Coney, the line to Congress referrals are just time sucks. They will never amount to anything. I agree. They're doing it for leverage. Maybe they should raid Powell's panty drawer. Just got out of a meeting. Is Powell in prison yet? No, he's not. He's clearly worried, though. I mean, to go out on social media and be like, yeah, I'm getting grand jury subpoenas. And that's what's interesting. They don't specifically say, I don't think. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of Federal Reserve setting interest rates. I'm not sure if the statement actually said anything about lying to Congress. Is that just what we're assuming? So what if it's something different? Then it's more interesting. If it's actually just lying to Congress, I think it's gay. But if it's something else, much more interesting. Grand juries are already going on, looking into something Fed related. But we'll see. We shall see. Okay, all the former Fed people are like super pissed. Greenspan, Bernanke, Yellen, and other past officials say Trump using prosecutorial attacks to undermine the Fed. A chorus of previous Federal Reserve chairs, Treasury secretaries, and prominent economists came together Monday to support Jerome Powell as the central bank leader faces potential perjury allegations from the Justice Department. The reported criminal inquiry into Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell is an unprecedented attempt to use prosecutorial attacks to undermine that independence. And a bunch of signatory. This is like the Hunter Biden laptop letter, except it's the Jerome Powell defense letter. This is how monetary policy is made in emerging markets with weak institutions, with highly negative consequences for inflation and the functioning of their economies more broadly. It continued, it has no place in the United States whose greatest strength is the rule of law, which is at the foundation of our economic success. Yeah, okay. I love when they say like things like democracy and rule of law, because those are two things that they push the most but don't believe in at all. So ridiculous. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Very curious. He's definitely like targeting the financial stuff. He's going after credit card companies. I think, did we talk about this Friday on the show? I don't remember if it came out before or after, but he is requesting. He's not actually demanding this. He's not actually putting this in the executive order yet. He's just like verbally asking the credit card companies through True Social to put a cap for 1 year on their interest rates at 10%. Now, we talked about this a little bit on OnlyLens on Friday, and like, I personally think, I don't like a president getting involved in private businesses. And I know that's not what he's doing here. He's asking. He's not doing anything like with an executive order. If he does do that, I think it probably would cross some sort of line. I do think, like, yes, credit card companies, predatory. A lot of the stuff they do, bullshit. But it's also people's own fault. Like we do not do a very good job of teaching people when they're younger about how to like be financially responsible, and it shows. It shows. And the system is designed to keep us that way. They don't want us anything other than owing them endless amounts of interest rates. W True Love 2823. I don't see the credit card companies acquiescing to this request. I love that word. acquiesce. I appreciate you using it so eloquently. But yes, I also do not think that credit card companies will acquiesce to his request. The move sent shares of large banks, including Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, down between 1% and 4% in early trading Monday. On Monday, companies more tightly tethered to the card industry like Visa, MasterCard, American Express also fell. Capital One, whose loan book is mostly from credit cards, sank nearly 7%. Trump proposed a one-year cap on interest rates starting January 20th. It's unclear how that would be enforced. The industry's message is clear. The plan would bring unintended consequences for consumers and the American economy. The move would make large swaths of credit card industries unprofitable, especially tied to customers with less than ideal credit profiles, according to banks and analysts. The average credit card rate nationally is 19.7%. As of this month, according to a weekly survey from Bankrate.com, all rates for subprime borrowers and store-specific cards are even higher. This is wild. Like going from, 24% in some cases and higher, down to a 10% cap would make these businesses unprofitable. That's insanity. It's not like they sell a product that people go and buy and like lowering the price or whatever. They are making money literally off the backs of the people. And that kind of change would make it unprofitable. That's unreal. But I think there's more going on here. Trump not like forcing them to do it and just being like, hey, you should cap the rates at 10%. He's not even saying like eliminate it. He's just saying cap the rates at 10 and watch none of these companies do it, because I doubt they will. But if none of these companies do it, then what? It's going to be hard for people, like Trump's trying. It's going to be hard for people to be mad at Trump over it. And then he probably does do something more forcefully. It's kind of like the Greenland situation. He's like, yeah, we're going to do something there, whether they like it or not. They can do it the easy way or the hard way. I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on here with the credit card situation. He's going after the Fed, grand jury to the Fed for whatever reason. And now, hey guys, easy way or hard way. Easy way is you guys just do this without me having to get involved. Hard way, I'm going to kidnap all your CEOs with space lasers. Babbage3 says, for $5. Thank you, by the way. Congratulations to Badlands Media for reaching 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Babbage. That's awesome. Still not monetized over there. Probably never will be, but we kind of gave up trying. Like, they're still reviewing it. If it gets approved, great. But we're just trying to get the message out. So whether we're monetized or not, we don't care. Dr. Rick 1776, John, it never surprises me how much we are in agreement. I hope to get to Agart sometime soon. Been a follower since the early years. Good to see you, Dr. Rick. Welcome to the chat. I don't feel like I don't recognize that name. But yeah, you guys should come to Agart. Our next one's coming up April 9th through the 12th in Nashville. And tickets are now on sale. If you click on more info here, buy in-person tickets. The VIP tickets are flying off the shelf. They're all like tickets generally are off to a hot start. You can tell people were like waiting and itching for this one to get put on sale. So very exciting. Foxman17, I pay 3 to 4% for every card swipe I do for my customers. Wow. But I think Dr. Rick got some on his nose. Funny. 10% is still usury. Yeah. Cap the rate's 10%, then people go farther into debt. Then they restrict the money supply. And there's a depression like 1933, then they buy everything for pennies. Yeah, I don't know, what the answer is here. We have been chipped away at, and it's becoming more and more obvious, like just how many things there are wrong with this country in so many different ways. Like when things are good, like when they can fabricate the economy and turn it up so it looks like everything's good and stock market's going up and all these things are going up, it's like, oh yeah, things are great. But then once you start peeling back the layers, and I don't remember, I think it was Ghost on Saturday who said it, and he was paraphrasing some guy who writes for RT. And he's like, what Trump is doing is he's turning the volume down. And so people can kind of like actually see what's going on. And I've been ruminating on that since he said it. I think it's so spot on. And with the volume down, like, you can see just how messed up everything is, and how getting this solved before Trump leaves, whether that's this year or 4 years after that, or, or 2028 or 2032, I don't know. I don't think it's enough time. There's so much that needs to be, and I don't know how we do it without just scrapping the whole thing and starting over. Nashville, our Hody. Nashville's about a 5 or 6 hour drive from me. Would like to go, but have no idea what will be going on here in April. Yeah. Miss P. Van Irishman, the old gal won't let me go. She says I don't play well with others. She done bail me out of jail. You can come on. Ruminating. That's like a $10 word. Yeah, Phil Scarborough, I'm all about Trump too in 2028. I agree. And I like what Steve Bannon said about it when he was like, it doesn't matter that Congress put a law in place, probably an unconstitutional one, as most their laws are. It's up to the people. If the people want them, they get them. If they want a president for a third term, they get them. The caveat here is we need to fix our elections, of course. Let's keep going. There's a story about tech investors assess minerals mining as U.S. takeover. Talk on Greenland grows. I do have a great video, if I can find it, on Greenland. Let me play this.
What are you doing?
Hmm?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that meme. If you haven't seen the meme, it might not be that funny. Probably should have showed you the meme first, but whatever. The Greenland story is not going away. Curious to see and I think that's what's going to be handled next. This was a story that came out last night, and I think this is pretty fascinating. I want to read through some of it. Washington's new lobbyists paid online influencers with few rules. Corporate and foreign interests pour money into getting pro-Trump social media stars to push their causes. We've been talking about these online influencers for a while now, guys. There is crazy money, apparently, involved in some of this stuff. Last summer, Donald Trump's 28-year-old former campaign aide, Alex Bruszewitz, had some new advice for the president. Reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug. In quotes here, this is from his post. Nearly 70% of Republican voters support Trump on this. No brainer, he said to more than 640,000 followers on X. What Bruszewitz left out of the post, a political action committee funded by legal marijuana's biggest players had just paid him $300,000. So Alex Bruszewitz had a post, and he took a very pro-reclassification stance on the heels of being paid $300,000, probably to do that. Trump's return to the White House has transformed the federal government and upended the business of lobbying, creating a new class of Washington operatives that blur the lines between consulting, advocacy, and journalism. Corporate and foreign interests that used to rely primarily on paid lobbyists to pitch their case to lawmakers and administration officials are instead pouring money into trying to get their cause promoted by a group of young conservative influencers known to be close to Trump's staff. A camera-ready pack of Gen Z. I'm going to skip down. They don't work for traditional news outlets and are thus unshackled from newsroom ethics rules, such as the typical ban on accepting gifts worth more than $25. They don't have to follow the disclosure laws that apply to big money super PACs for lobbyists, and they have large followings eager to hear pro-Trump views, a goldmine for those looking to sway both Washington and the public. Israel made plans in the past year to spend $900,000 on an influencer campaign with a U.S. audience. I think we've covered that story pretty well in depth. The solar energy, health industries have paid thousands of dollars to influencers to support their interests. Qatar is big spenders, and they go through like some of these people and how much money they got. A bunch of them got to go to Qatar, Doha. After Trump ally Laura Loomer is critical of Qatar, posts online about the influencers who took the trip and raised questions over whether they were shilling for Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. Smith found himself in an online firestorm. Yeah, that's what happens when you get caught taking money for your opinions. This gal, Sinclair, says she got $67,500 in the past year from the Maha PAC to host videos about issues of interest to the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. aligned movement. Creators have the attention right now. She said in an interview in 2026, I believe attention is going to be the currency of power. And here's a couple more. These campaigns frequently seek to influence White House policy. While many traditional lobbyists and the press have had their access to Trump curtailed during the second term, Trump aides follow the work of certain influencers online, inviting them to the West Wing for briefings with cabinet officials and top White House officials, such as Levitt, the press secretary. Those known to have a good relationship with Trump's assistant, Natalie Harp, and other White House officials can command thousands of dollars more per post than others, according to a person familiar with the business. If Harp notices a policy position picking up steam among well-watched social media stars, she's known to print out the relevant posts and give them to the president as evidence of what prominent supporters are saying. Lobbyists and PR professionals who hire influencers in Washington said campaigns can range from a few $100s a post to tens of thousands of dollars. Some popular accounts have doubled or tripled the price per post they net during the Trump administration as demand soars. But yeah, I mean, guys, this is such a problem. You know how much we talk about lobbyists and how big of a problem that is with our elected officials? And like, especially foreign ones. But it doesn't matter who. Foreign, domestic, anybody. They're putting money behind people, not to represent you, or not even to represent themselves, to represent the interests of the source of that money. And now we finally have like a relatively mainstream outlet. I think it's relatively mainstream, the Wall Street Journal, talking about this. And I think this is a problem. And I think the influencer class, like they're no different than the lobbyists. The influencer class is even worse. Because at least with lobbyists, like you have to disclose that stuff. Right? You have to like disclose what you're doing. You have to document things. And you can actually get in trouble if you don't do it according to the law, like whatever that even means. I can't remember the last time an actual lobbyist was prosecuted. John, isn't this how you made your millions? No, I made my millions in other ways. But these influencers are worse because they pretend to be authentic. They pretend to just be speaking from their opinion, and they abuse their, their followings. But they're doing what their lobbyists are telling them to do. Their thoughts are not their own. They're bought and paid for. And that's a problem. And this is why Badlands is different. We don't do this. We have sponsors. We get Rumble rants and donations from you guys. But nobody is told ever what they can and can't say. And I think if at any point I ever tried to like actually tell somebody what they, what opinion they should have, I think Badlands would fall apart. People would leave in an instant. Because it goes against every fiber of our mission. But you can't say the same about these people. $300,000 to push pro-marijuana declassification or reclassification, whatever, to your audience. And, maybe it's something he agrees with anyway. It's just a perfect marriage. But what opinions is he pushing that aren't authentically his for a huge-ass paycheck? But if you hate lobbyists, which I think most people in this audience do, you should probably also hate the online influencers. You shouldn't formulate your opinions because of online influencers, and that's including from me. Even though I've said in the past, I'm the only one that gets to influence you. I'm only using my vast powers of influence to get you to buy more lotion and beard oil, which is really benefiting you. But that includes people at Badlands. Like we are trying to, we push the friction, we push the debate, we push the good faith disagreements because we think that's needed. It's the only way to have progress. We don't want you guys to just regurgitate things that we say to you. Formulate your own opinions. Call us out when we're wrong. G. Henry, $300,000 to promote cannabis. When is CanCon getting his share of the promotional incentive? He's owed at least $1 million. Yeah. Richard Ward, John, news is fake and gay. War is real. Your partnership program has one flaw, lawsuits. Yeah, just one, and that'll go away eventually. If you ever want to get in the lobbying business, call it bad influence. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I've told people, I guess not people, one person messaged me once a while ago. It was like, hey, would you be willing to post for, or how much would you charge to post something? And I was like, here's my conditions. I will post whatever you want me to post as long as I get to say in that same post at the beginning that, one, I was paid this much money to post this post, and two, this is who told me to post it. Because I mean, I'll take the money, but you guys will all know that it wasn't actually my opinion and I was paid to do it. These people aren't disclosing that. Maggie Bundy, I fight with JB through text over Russia, Ukraine. Who doesn't fight with JB over Russia, Ukraine? Some of your opinions are worth regurgitating. I mean, of course mine are. I was talking about other people at Badlands. John, that's a long time ago, bro. Yeah. Anyway, crazy article. I'm going to post this in the chat for you guys. I like bad fluencing. I feel like we could be the bad influences for people. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys go check out the Badlands Media Substack. They have revamped the brief. It's awesome. It's less like mainstream articles and it's more like our takes on things. These guys are killing it. They're also doing a Badlands Blitz show every Saturday. Is it Saturday, Sunday? I think it's Saturday. Comes out on Saturday mornings. It's been awesome. I mean, they have one episode out so far, Ghost and Burning Bright. It's basically going to be Ghost, Burning Bright, and Ash kind of rotating. We'll get some other people in the mix as well. Over the weekend, Saturday, we talked about the Venezuelan devolution, which I think was very interesting. But there's also another story in here I want to find. Yeah, the sonic weapon thing that's quite the psyop going on. Hold on. Conscious strength or boys. Well, maybe it was in a different article. Can't find it. But anyway, I did want to show you guys this. Donald Trump over the weekend, when it comes to Venezuela, he posted a picture of him. Oh, hey, Praying Medic got a retweet. Trump ended the Bush, Clinton, Obama, and Biden regimes. Pretty sure he's up to the task. I want to find the Trump posted a Wikipedia page of him being the, where the hell is it? Oh, come on. He was the president of Venezuela. Here it is. Jeez. Liberals are losing their minds over that. It's always funny to watch them freak out. What else do I got for you guys? Iranian opposition leader urges Trump to intervene as communications blackout hits protesters. Maybe Iran's next. I don't know. The Treasury targets Minnesota benefits fraud with federal crackdown. Good stuff. Expose the fraud. Don't pay taxes. Iran is prepared for war, but open to U.S. talks as hundreds reported killed in protests. We did get a little D-class. Nothing crazy, though. Because that's the one thing that's kind of been missing the last couple months, and I would argue even really since the Charlie Kirk assassination, is D-class. We haven't gotten much declassifications lately. And what we have gotten was pretty minor in comparison to what they started us off with. Like we're talking, we went from Durham, like classified annex to like nothing. Every now and then we'll get a couple emails come out like this one. Arctic frost probe driven early on by anti-Trump FBI agent. Claims by liberal outlets memo show. So, hey, we got the reason that the Biden DOJ politically persecuted Trump is because one of the FBI agents was anti-Trump. Wow. And because of like claims that were put out there by liberal outlets. Wow. I had no idea. CSUSB Geochem, you're right, John. They used Epstein to take the heat off Kirk and then nothing. Yeah, what happened to the Epstein D-class? Nobody cares about that anymore either. Haven't heard much from Poole or Owens lately. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. There are people that are upset over Trump going after Powell, apparently in the GOP. Senate banking Republicans are set to meet Monday night about crypto legislation, and some members expect to discuss the Powell probe as well. I love how they call it a probe. Like, could you be any gayer? Let's call it an investigation. No, we're gonna call it a probe. Probably feels like an anal probe too, so not that I would know. GOP angst grows over Powell investigation. A growing number of Republicans on Capitol Hill are expressing unease with the Justice Department's move to investigate Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, sign that the probe could become a major inflection point over GOP lawmakers' concerns about central bank independence. By the way, this guy is the North Dakota senator, Kevin Cramer, one of two. I was actually on a flight with both Cramer and Hoeven. It was like a couple months ago. I got a picture with Hoeven because I went to high school with his son back in the day. I know who he is, but Cramer, I just went up to him and was like, yo, why do you guys keep sending money to Ukraine? I didn't actually say that, but that's what I was thinking. Gave him my card. Was like, hey, if you want an interview, let me know. He never let me know. But anyway, these people are pissed. I do not believe, however, he's a criminal. I hope this criminal investigation can be put to rest quickly, along with the remainder of Jerome Powell's term. We need to restore confidence in the Fed. The Justice Department believes an investigation into Powell is warranted based on project cost overruns, which are not unusual. Then Congress needs to investigate the Department of Justice. Stakes are too high to look the other way. The Federal Reserve loses its independence, the stability of our markets and the broader economy will suffer. It'd be even super more independent if it didn't exist. Trump said that he's the one who saved NATO. Let's see what else we got. And there might not be much else. Biggest news is the Powell stuff. So we can hang out with you guys. What do you guys want to talk about for a couple minutes before I send you over to Y-Chromes? Medbetsco, catch up, John. Daddy Trump said Epstein was a hoax, so it's all okay now. I think he's telling the truth. CSUSB Geocam. Eggs are cheap when you have chickens, and so is chicken. I'm not allowed to have chickens in the town that I live in. I can either move across the river or move out of town, but I can't have them here, even though I would totally have chickens if I could. Real quick, guys, if there's anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I want to play our soft disclosure ad first. You guys should get some soft disclosure if you haven't yet. Lotion's amazing. Deodorant's amazing. Beard oil, still use it every day. Rub it all over my face. It's awesome. Get yourself some soft disclosure. If there's anything you want me to talk about for like 5-10 minutes when I come back afterwards, post in the chat. And if there's nothing good, then I'll just send you over to Y-Chrome. So it's up to you guys. Up to you guys.
Get you some of that beard oil.
Now that I'm alone, got the close up. Do you see how awesome my beard looks right now?
I use the beard oil every single day. First thing. Comes out feeling all silky smooth. I take the dropper and I manually apply the oil directly to my mustache. Nice and, oh man, I love it. And then I do drops all throughout the hair and then I just rub it all in. And then I top it off with the tallow stick on the face.
Dude, I feel like I have to grow a beard just to try this beard oil. It sounds
Do it, Jay.
amazing.
It's all from softdisclosure.com, and the best part about it is you will be supporting Badlands Media, Annie from Willowwind Farms, and basically 3 of Annie's neighbors. So that's 5 total American companies that you'd be supporting with one purchase.
I have been using the Soft Disclosure scentless beard oil every day after the shower. It looks unkempt, but it feels silky smooth. I want to look a little wild and unapproachable. But for the woman I trust, she'll be like, oh, it's actually kind of soft. He is approachable after all. Otherwise, stay away. And Soft Disclosure will help you too with that if that's the very specific vibe you're going for.
That is very specific, yes. You guys are supporting American businesses when you do that. It's absolutely incredible, and you get a great, great product.
Medbetsco had a pretty good question here. How do you think the accelerated narrative war is impacting the core research of devolution? Will we see the next step soon, or does the movie continue? It's a great question. One I admittedly don't have an answer to. The core research for the devolution series is there. It's not going anywhere. I kind of wait for new things to come out that we can look back at in hindsight. You know, like I check the NSPM sites all the time. I'm still waiting on Executive Order 13961 to be addressed. The national, oh shoot, the not continuity, the strategy document. What's it called? Okay, resilience strategy. The national resilience strategy document is like almost 300 days overdue. It's late, waiting for that stuff to come out. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get more info that sheds light on what took place, because I believe what took place is something called devolution, and if evidence comes to show us something else, you know, we'll go and dig into that. But right now, I think that maps the most onto reality, and I think it'd be pretty hard to change my mind on that. John, that's because you don't follow Q, bro. You know, you're right. I haven't read the drops, but I've still always like felt that Q was legit. So I don't know what you mean by that. What's relevant by that? Like, what would change about how I do things just by reading the drops? Still in effect, my opinion. I don't know, man. The whole, good to see, by the way, Fat Chance. The whole partial revocation of 13961 is just so fascinating to me. Something happened while Biden was in office. Don't know what it is. I think it's devolution, but we may never know the exact details. John is Q adjacent, not a Q. I'm a Q adjacent Q promoter. Q is a framework, not a fucking gospel. Q is a walking or waking device for new researchers, not gospel. And that's the thing. Like, when we talk shit, a lot of people interpret it that we're talking about Q itself, but we're not. Whatever that even was or is. It's the way some people use it, which I think is ridiculous. John, your research is solid, bro. Stop wavering. The Q proofs. I'm not wavering in the slightest. I do not waver. Rebel Nader, whose idea was to market to fags? Brilliant. They use a lot of lotion. El Quades, for the first time since Trump's first term, my gas in PA was under $3. It was $2.98 today. That's awesome. See, these are the types of tangible effects that I want to see more of. People need to see, and I think that's what this year is going to be about. Like the economic stuff trickling down to us, the regular people. Trump has nothing to do with gas prices. That's true. But some of the economic policies he's executing, I mean, they will lower prices. Then let's go. I saw $1.6022 petrol in Fort Collins day before yesterday. It makes the Venezuela thing more interesting because I feel like a lot of the economic stuff was in place for gas prices to really start coming down at the beginning parts of this year anyway. And so then you go into Venezuela, you say it's about the oil. And even realistically, like with whatever's going on in Venezuela, it's going to take time for the actual effects of that, if it were just to be about oil, for that to actually hit us, I would think. Like, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, we have Venezuela now. The production wasn't huge. It wasn't life-changing. I think they were doing, 700,000 barrels a day in production. And that's like that's capacity for them. It used to be up to 3 million, 10 years ago or something. But because of the facilities and infrastructure they got, it's come down. So the timing of it is interesting because they're selling it as if like gas prices coming down is a direct result of what happened in Venezuela, when I don't think that's the case at all. Joanne Coach, I actually have bed sheets made in the USA now. MyPillow.com, is that where you got them? Tim LT Bird. Then the media needs to stop saying Trump does. OPEC has a glut, including Venezuela. We imported 50 million barrels of oil from Venezuela in 2025. Yeah, so what we did down there, I don't think it's gonna change or have immediate impact. And maybe you see it differently, but that's how I see it. Venezuela has 300 million barrels in reserve already pumped. Is that true? I would counter that with why then are they always hire when a Dem president and admin is in charge? There's a lot of blue state policies that affect the gas prices in your area too. I protest I'm not regular people. I feel like we're regular people. I guess maybe you're not. But I consider myself a regular person. Oh, that was something I was going to talk about today. We'll probably end on this. There were a couple stories. I got those two. This is the one that I didn't get to yet. And I thought this was interesting. So this post net worth chart by age, by percentile, updated as of 2025, includes your primary residence home equity. Do you feel like you're behind, in line, or ahead the tier you want to be at? It has all the ages on the left. And then what percentile you're in based on whatever your net worth is. And it's kind of a scary thing. Because most people, I feel like, if this is the stuff that motivates you, like financial stuff, and it doesn't motivate me, but I know a lot of people it does, like my buddies. Like my buddies in my text group, like that's all they care. I mean, I shouldn't say all they care about, but that's like one of their motivators, right? Is money. And unfortunately, it's the same way for a lot of people. Money drives too many things. It's sad. It's depressing. But they'll always want to be like moving up in the percentile of all this stuff, where I don't really care. But even so, looking at it, it's like, holy shit, I got work to do, right? And it shouldn't be that way. But anyway, I thought this was also interesting from whoever this Andrew Lokanath guy is. $100,000 salary in 1990 would be more than $250,000 in today's dollars. A $100,000 salary today would be less than $40,000 in 1990. Like, holy shit. That's, when you put it like that, it's crazy. Fat Chance says I'd be okay if I was 18. That's funny. That was my thought too. I was like, oh, compared to most 18-year-olds, I'm sitting pretty well. We're now importing free oil in tankers from Venezuela. CSUSB Geochem says ExxonMobil has filed a lawsuit against California over state's climate disclosure laws. Moker, I always felt devolution was Q related and was very surprised when I found out John hadn't read the Q drops. Yeah, that's one of the interesting things is like I have a lot of friends who are, like some of the OG Q people, Sather and Brad, and I've had other friends at some points along the way, and then all those people, a lot of those people now, they hate me. Very unjustly, I might add. Or at least for typically either false reasons or selfish reasons. A lot of those people have lied about me over the last year or so. Turned a lot of people against me. It's weird. But we don't need to get into that. That'll be a future part 2 thing that we'll put out at some point. But anyway, guys, I'm going to send you over to Y-Chromes. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. I'll be back on tonight on Baseless Conspiracies at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have, quite frankly, join us at some point. I don't know if that'll be today or what. But I'll keep you guys posted. But anyway, you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy some Y-Chromes. Hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and family. If you have other topics you want me to discuss, things you want me to look at, you can always tag me on Twitter or shoot me a DM or whatever. get your guard tickets, get your soft disclosure, and I'll see you tonight.
Read all about it.
Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.